Meet Bel Cranel, a weak, selfish kid who only wants to power up to impress a girl he likes, and Hestia, a poor, jealous goddess trying to make a name for herself in the new world. One day, while he was down in the dungeon looking for smaller-level monsters, he accidentally ran into a gigantic Minotaur and had to be saved by Aisha Wallenstein, a powerful female swordsman. He ran away in cowardice and went back home to his companion Hestia, a female goddess who descended from the heavens to reside with the humans alongside other deities. She makes him a decent meal and asks him about his day. She then proceeds to check his stats by extracting the information through her divine powers. They both get excited about his progress and end up sleeping together. The following day, he wakes up to a stunning image but hurries out hastily to go fight some demons. On his way, a maid stops him in his tracks and hands him a gem which she claims he dropped alongside some food to eat. Bel happily accepts and promises to come back later, then quickly heads into the dungeon for more battle. Hestia looks at his stats again and begins to get frustrated, believing he will leave her when he gets stronger. Later on in the night, Bel visits the tavern and starts munching on a delicious spaghetti when suddenly a strong adventurer group enters, making a big scene. Everyone is shocked at their arrival, including Bel, who notices the female swordsman who saved him and starts blushing. One of the male adventurers starts narrating the tale of a coward who had to be saved in the dungeon and fled with his tails between his legs. Bel gets flustered and rushes out once again in a panic. The next day, Hestia continues her routine stat check and is flabbergasted at the radical change he was showing. She believes his feelings have something to do with his recent progress and make him promise not to leave her behind. After heading out, he pays a visit to the tavern and apologizes for last night's ordeal and pays them back for the food. They informed him that it was okay, gave him some food, and sent him packing. Inside the royal court, Hestia meets Freya and the other gods who have gathered to party. Loki shows up and starts making fun of Hestia, whilst she, in return, points out her lack of cleavage, creating tension between them. They go back and forth, and Loki ends up walking away in tears. Suddenly, Hephaestus shows up looking fabulous to greet the sorry bunch. Hestia seizes the opportunity to ask her a favor and starts groveling at her feet. She keeps on begging her to make Bel a weapon and refuses to take no for an answer. Hephaestus shows some sympathy to her crybaby attitude and decides to help her out. She crafts a powerful knife and warns Hestia to keep it safe and pay back the favor soon. Bel, on the other hand, is sent to run an errand to the Colosseum. One of the maids forgot her purse and he goes out looking for her, but stumbles into Hestia, who grabs his arm and forces him to go on a date with her. Out of nowhere, a huge monster starts wreaking havoc in the town and chases Bel and Hestia. Bel tries to attack the monster, but alas, his sword breaks and they start running once again. It is revealed that as a child, Bel was continuously scorned for being weak and no family would accept him. Hopeless and lost, he was lying on the ground when Hestia magically appeared to give him a home and a familiar. In the present, Bel locks Hestia inside a cage and tells her that he needs to protect her no matter what happens. He distracts the monster and takes it far away, but is cornered by the beast and reaches his end's wit. Just as the monster was about to strike him down, Hestia came to the rescue but required rescuing herself. Bel picked her up and started running away, asking her why she had come back. She then confessed her love to him and showed him the sword Hephaestus made for him. While checking his stats, she notices another drastic improvement and feels pretty confident that he can defeat the monster in one go. Using this newfound power, Bel leaps into action, jumping around and landing critical strikes on the monster. Hestia cheers him on from the side, informing him that she believes in his abilities. Bel stabs the monster with all his might and brings an end to the destruction once and for all. Everyone starts applauding his efforts and Hestia embraces him warmly. However, she loses consciousness and falls to the ground, sending shivers down Bel's spine. Thankfully, it wasn't major and she fell due to exhaustion. When she woke up, Bel was right beside her, taking care of her basic needs. His tears started pouring down as he felt afraid and continued to hug her passionately. The next day, he goes to the Adventurers Guild and demands to be given level 7 missions now that he has grown stronger. The clerk is left speechless as she checks his stats and affirms his improvement. She asks to meet him the next day, and they rendezvous at the town square where she starts teasing him and cuddling him with her chest. Afterward, they head to the Hephaestus Familia shop, a luxurious tower filled with lavish artifacts and weaponry. By some random stroke of luck, Belle meets Hestia and is shocked to see her work there. She starts shouting at him for going on a date with a woman when the guild clerk introduces herself. She goes by the name Aniroll and explains to her that she only seeks to help Belle and nothing more. She then proceeds to take Belle to a hidden workshop where he could find quality armory at a cheap price. He picks the one he likes and they head out. However, while he was walking home, he sees a poor little girl being harassed by a cruel man and defends her honor. The following day, he meets with the girl Lily, and she thanks him and offers to join his crusade, to which he agrees and takes her to the dungeon. Later on, he panics about losing his knife while one of the guildmaids catches the little girl red-handed but hides her secret and hands Belle his knife back. Assuming everything was all right, they continued going back to the dungeon and reaping huge profits from their hunt. While things were going great for Belle, Hestia, on the other hand, starts drinking heavily and complaining about how Belle is cheating on her. She starts throwing a tantrum and giving Belle a hard time when he proposes to go on a date with her. She springs into action and heads straight towards the heavenly bath reserved only for the Phalan Angles. Inside the bath, she meets Demeter, a gorgeous goddess who starts complimenting her busty figure. She confesses that she has a date tonight and everyone seems intrigued. She leaves with a huge smile on her face and excitement in her heart. Nevertheless, as soon as she meets up with Belle, all the others push her away and start swarming him. They ended up running all night and never got the chance to spend quality time together. The following day, he borrows a book from one of the maids about magic and starts reading it in fascination. He gets fully immersed and ends up falling asleep. When he awoke from his deep slumber, Hestia continued her routine checkup and was startled to see that he gained magical powers. Unable to hold in his excitement, he went to the dungeon and started practicing his new fire bursts. He kept on going deeper and deeper and eventually fainted due to the debilitation. Luckily for him, the female swordsman, Aisha, found him unconscious and stayed by his side. When he awoke, he ran away once again, unable to handle his feelings towards her. The following day, things took an unexpected twist when the man he fought showed up and made him an offer. He refused and continued his journey with Lily, the young girl he saved who became his new support. As a child, Lily was shunned for being different than everyone else. She was discriminated against and abused by all the adventurers she met and holds a deep grudge to this day. Although Belle just met Lily, he informs Hestia that he will protect her no matter the cost and asks her to back him up. The next morning, Lily tries to persuade Belle to enter the 10th level dungeon, even though they barely made it out from the 7th. As gullible as he is, he accepts and they head on forward. As soon as they step foot, a giant ogre shows up and starts attacking them. Belle fights it with all his might and defeats it, only to behold another pop-up and another and another. There was no end to them, and Lily was nowhere to be found. Amidst his battle, she shoots an arrow and reels in his weapon and bids him goodbye as she leaves him to rot in the dungeon. Unfortunately for her, she is caught by the man they met earlier and he beats her to a pulp. More adventurers come and steal her belongings and throw her into a trap. When she lost hope and accepted her demise, Belle started blasting the ants and rescued her all on his own. She broke down in tears and apologized to him, swearing she would serve him loyally from now on. The following day, Belle and Lily are seen walking on the street when Belle decides to touch her ears, making her blush and confess her ability to use transformation magic. Later on, he takes her to his home to meet Hestia. She is confronted by her stern looks, and Hestia makes her promise to take care of Belle from here on out. As soon as Belle walks in, Hestia begins to cuddle him, and Lily decides to join in, and they both start fooling around. But you know Belle, the coward ends up running away as usual, missing out on all the action. As he walks into the guild, he spots Ace on the couch and tries to run away. However, her speed blocks his path, and he starts squirming once again, pathetically. Eventually, he gets past his fears and sits down to have a chat with her. She explains to him how she found his gear in the 10th level of the dungeon and offers to train him since she sees potential in him. They head onto the roof in the dead of night, and she proceeds to make a man out of him. After their rigorous training, they go out to grab a bite, only to encounter a hysterical Hestia screaming at him. Her jealousy takes over, and she jumps at Belle in the middle of the street, making a huge scene. Later on, he finds out that Aisha defeated a floor boss all on her own, and her rank skyrocketed since they last met. This aggravates Belle even more, since he believes the gap between him and his idol is growing larger by the day. Before he could finish his thought, he was pulled into the tavern to a huge pile of dishes. Another maid comes out to help him, Ryu Lion, a former adventurer who quit due to unpleasant circumstances. She narrates her story to Belle and gives him a couple of advice to grow stronger, one of which was to recruit more people into his familiar. He takes her advice to heart and heads into the dungeon alongside his trusted support, Lily. As if it was the work of the devil, they meet a hungry Minotaur on the 9th floor, who wasn't supposed to be there since Minotaurs belong on the 14th, 16th level. Belle freezes from shock and was unable to move. Luckily, Lily reacted quickly enough to push him out of the way, but suffered the consequences as she started bleeding profusely. He tries to hold off the Minotaur, but realizes that he is outmatched. He screams at Lily to escape while she can, and uses himself as a decoy to at least try and save her. The Minotaur beats him easily. Even so, his nitrous in shining armor swoops in yet again to save the day. Only this time, he refuses to accept her help and attempts to kill the beast all on his own. A valiant effort from a little wimp, if you ask me, but lo and behold, he pulls it off and ends up killing the Minotaur with his bare hands. Everyone acknowledges his effort as he faints heroically and is sent back to Hestia to recover. Dawn breaks and our hero is being checked by his concubine for improvement. She gladly announces the terrific news with a sly look on her face. He received a new skill called Argonaut, also known as heroic aspiration. Now that she completed her routine duties, she bids him farewell and heads to a meeting held by the gods. Seeing as how he was all alone in the house, he decides to visit the tavern for a quick drink where he meets up with the gang. Their reunion is cut short when a bunch of adventurers try to haggle Ryu and learn the bitter price. Belle then goes back to the weapon shop looking for a Welf Crozzo armor when he meets Welf himself. Welf persuades him to let him join their crew and in return provide weapons and armor for him, to which Belle agrees without hesitation and takes him to the dungeon with them. While they were fighting off average demons, a gigantic dragon resurfaced and targeted Lily. Belle takes the opportunity to test out his newfound skill, Argonaut, and ends up one-shotting the dragon. Welf admires his tenacity and crafts him a magical sword to help improve his battle aptitude. All three of them are pumped up due to the last haul they carried out and go deeper into the dungeon this time, fighting more ferocious monsters such as fire-breathing werewolves and axe-wielding bunnies. At first, they were no match for them, but their stamina started to quickly fade and the escape route vanished. They seemed to go deeper and deeper. Lily and Welf reached their end's wit and were unable to fight back. Hestia noticed the aberration, since they were in there for a long time, and started gathering adventurers to go rescue them. Fortunately for her, Hermes, Ryu, and a bunch of others volunteered to go after them. While back in the dungeon, Welf was using every last bit of his strength to repel the monster's attack. Belle, on the other hand, was killing it. Even Minotaurs were no match for him this time, as he significantly improved from his last encounter. Ryu and the other adventurers made it to the dungeon and started killing off the beasts one by one. After reaching the 14th level, Belle and his crew were nowhere to be seen. Thus, they surmised that they might have headed further down to level 18, which is considered a safe zone. Everyone was in accordance and decided to follow up on the plan. Further down the dungeon, Lily and Welf used up every ounce of energy they had and collapsed. Despite the dire circumstances, Belle didn't give up on them and carried them all the way. As soon as he reached the 18th level gate, giant floor bosses started breaking through their enclosure. Luckily, he was fast enough to evade their attack and make it through safe and sound. Upon waking up, he noticed he was saved by his idol and crush A's. She introduced him to her crew and explained to him that they were camping on the 18th level, waiting for reinforcement to launch an attack on the floor boss. She shows him around, and then they gather around to celebrate a feast. Hestia shows up and starts sobbing intensely. The crew breathes a sigh of relief, knowing that everything worked out well. While everyone was asleep, Belle and Ice sneak out quietly to contemplate the situation. However, their date is cut short when Hestia throws another jealous hissy fit. The following day, Belle is seen pushing Hestia up a cliff to meet with the rest of the crew. They all look down at a breathtaking scene filled with peace and tranquility. After all was said and done, they started touring the small marketplace situated inside the 18th level dungeon. Before long, Hestia and Lily get into another argument about Belle, as Hestia accuses her of putting her man in danger. While all this is happening, Hermes takes Belle deep inside the forest, where the women are known to bathe naked. He tells him that it is a man's duty to take sneak peeks whenever possible. But you know Belle, as clumsy as he is, he fell headfirst into the pond. Expecting them to scream and hit him, they were actually amiable and welcomed him to join them. Even so, the moment he laid eyes on Ais, he freaked out and did what he does best. Run! He then ran into Ryu while she was bathing and almost blasted his head off. After explaining the situation, she tells him it's okay and takes him to a graveyard where she buried her entire crew. When he returned home, he found a scroll on the floor telling him to come alone if he wanted to save Hestia. He approached the bandits and confronted them bravely. The leader challenged him to a duel and went invisible using a magical artifact. He proceeded to beat the hell out of Belle, who was defenseless against his unpredictable attacks. The adventurers caught wind of this and came to his aid. Using the boost of adrenaline, Belle was able to sense the bandits' attack and defeated him without breaking a sweat. Suddenly, they all heard a terrifying rumbling that shook the earth and rattled their core. As they looked up, it was none other than the floor boss who invaded the safe space. All the escape doors were closed. Ais and her crew had left a day earlier. Things were looking really bleak for the bandits and adventurers. After finding a common enemy, they decided to join hands and bring it down. They started blasting at the boss, but were unable to make a dent. Even when they did manage to injure him, he was able to heal instantly. He kept on rampaging in the middle of the battlefield with no one to stop him. Bodies were seen scattered throughout, and the entire morale of the army was crushed. Belle attempted to finish it off with his special skill, but alas, he was hit with a fatal strike mid-air. He was unable to move or speak and entered a vegetative state. Hestia kept crying out to him, and Hermes assured her that he'd be fine. After digging deep, he mustered every ounce of energy he had and prepared to launch his final attack. After witnessing his drive and ambition, the other adventurers launched their secret techniques as well. It was then that Belle ended the fight in a single slash. Once the monster's body was amputated, he stabbed its core with his trusted knife, bringing an end to its reign of terror. Everyone cheered on, and Hermes revealed how Belle was the grandson of Zeus, the mighty figure of the heavens. After a gruesome battle with the floor boss on the 18th floor, our heroes recuperated and went back to the dungeon for more action. Just like my ex, only this time they added a new member to their squad, Yamato Meikoto. After a successful raid in the dungeon, all three returned to the bar to celebrate. While they were having a good time, a little kid approached and started to provoke Welf by downgrading his status. Out of frustration, Welf threw his beer at him, starting a huge ruckus in the bar. All of a sudden, one of the warriors speed-blitzed Welf and gravely injured Belle, almost choking him to death before another high-level adventurer stopped the brawl. Later on, Hestia congratulated him for holding his own and was very proud of him until she heard which familiar they were up against. At the guild, Ainatule reprimanded Belle for his actions and advised him to stay patient next time. As he was heading out, two messengers gave him a letter to deliver to Hestia. It was a letter from Apollo, inviting them to join his grand party. Leaving them no choice, they all dressed up in formal attire and joined the lavish party, at his esteemed mansion. The party was filled with all sorts of people and fallen deities. Hermes showed up with his companion, and so did Lady Freya, looking stunning as usual. Being the host of the party, Apollo gave a speech welcoming everyone, while Loki and Hestia were knee-deep in their argument. You know how crafty Hermes is. He saw the opportunity and made it his mission to assist Belle in asking Aisha for a dance. After a few motivational speeches, Belle went for it and found himself in the middle of the dance floor with his crush and idol. However, their reunion was cut short when Apollo demanded retribution for the bar incident and challenged Hestia to a duel. Winner takes all. Obviously, Hestia refused and left the party on fumes. The following day, she explains to Belle how the challenge was a ruse and the main intention was to start a war to destroy their familiar. As they were heading out, Belle noticed a fire burst heading their way and quickly jumped to her aid. As they looked up, several adventurers from the Apollo familia had planned an invasion and were set on capturing them at any cost. Belle tried to fend them off, but they were too many in number and was forced to retreat while carrying Hestia. On the roof, the two messenger girls warned him to stand down and explained to him how resistance against Apollo is futile. But when has Belle been the rational thinker? He ignores them and heads into an alley where he starts fighting lower ranked adventurers in hand-to-hand combat. Just when he thought he was done, the guy who gave him a beating in the bar showed up. Cleo. He proceeded to slash Belle's body and show him the difference in their power. Belle was no match for Cleo and felt worthless lying on the ground. He was kicked around like cattle when arrows shot from a distance saved him and Hestia. His allies showed up and gave them room to breathe. Lily and Welf also made an appearance and helped them escape. Unfortunately, Lily ran into a former master of hers who commanded her to return to the familiar at once. Hestia and Belle made their way to the Apollo mansion, where Hestia blatantly disrespected Apollo by throwing a glove at him and accepting his challenge. Everyone from the Apollo familia rejoiced. Nevertheless, news came from Welf that Lily was abducted. Belle realized how weak he still was and went to ask help from Aisha, who agreed to train him. In a separate part of town, Lily was scorned by her former master after having been abducted by the four-eyed creep, Zanis, who belonged to the Soma familia and demanded 10 million from Lily if she wanted to regain her freedom. They locked her up in a cage and informed her that she was a valuable specimen due to her transformation magic. It was later revealed that she wasn't abducted, rather, they made her a promise not to hurt Belle, and she succumbed of her own volition. Hestia and Welf, however, were plotting to set her free and are seen strategizing a prison break. Belle is training rigorously with Aisha, while Apollo grows anxious inside the royal court, awaiting Hestia's arrival. When she finally made an appearance, they decided on what victory would entail. If Apollo wins, he'll have Belle, and if Hestia gains victory, she can ask any favor she likes. In order to determine the type of battle, they let Hermes draw lots, and it was announced that it would be a full-on castle siege, with Hestia on the offense. Later on in the night, they attack Soma's stronghold and rescue Lily from the evil grips of Zanis. Lily returned home safely. Welf went to Hephaestus looking for help, and Belle, well, still grinding to grow stronger. It was time for the battle, and they were all loitering around waiting for Belle, who came back looking fresh and confident. Hestia bid them farewell and told them she had faith in them. On the chariot, the common folk were encouraging Belle to teach that pompous prick Apollo a lesson. The day of battle finally arrived, and everyone was tuned in to watch, including the gods in the royal auditorium. The lands went silent as a lonely female adventurer was seen in the distant horizon. She unsheathed her swords and started blasting lightning and fire at the castle walls. Must have been the work of Welf, who was instructed by Hephaestus. Her magic swords seemed cumbersome to deal with, so they went outside in order to confront her. While they were busy dealing with her, Yamato slipped in between the cracks and started wreaking havoc from the inside. Her quick strikes and nimble movement were no match for the soldiers. Unbeknownst to them, Lily had disguised herself as one of the soldiers, and after infiltrating their castle like a Trojan horse, opened the gates for Belle and the others to enter. Belle and Welf made quick work of the sorcerers on their way inside. Cleo awaited his presence inside the throne room, assuming Belle was still weak. He gravely underestimated him, because Belle destroyed the throne room in one fire blast. Talk about an impressive feat, huh? Not only did he obliterate the castle, but he also broke Cleo's sword in one swing, making a fool out of him in front of everyone watching. While Belle was distracted, Cleo launched an attack at him, knocking him to the ground. However, Belle sprang into action and delivered a lethal southpaw jab, ending his career. Everyone was pleased, and Hestia couldn't wait to make Apollo pay. It was then declared that the winners of the siege were the Hestia Familia. After the siege ended, Lily returned to her master and made peace with him for leaving abruptly. He acknowledged her gratitude and wished her well. As a result of winning the battle against Apollo, Hestia demanded his mansion and a buttload of cash for renovation. The Hestia family gathered around the table to celebrate their victory and made a toast for Belle's achievement. He moved up to level 3 and can now take on complex tasks with higher rewards. They all voted for him to become captain, which brought a huge smile to his face. Hestia, on the other hand, was living her best life. Crowds of adventurers flocked to the mansion seeking to join her family. Lily was scouting any potential hotties to eliminate from the selection, since they might steal Belle away from her. Hestia was feeling herself, and her confidence was in full swing when Yamato gave her a scroll from Hephaestus, declaring the debt for the sword she made. When Belle took a glance at the hefty price of 200 million, he immediately fainted and the crowd vanished without a trace. While he was lying unconscious, the rest of the members assured Hestia that they would help repay her debt and that she need not worry about a thing. Everyone was anxious about the unprecedented revelation and decided to visit the newly built custom bathtub. As Belle and Welf were having a conversation, Hestia couldn't help but eavesdrop. As the conversation grew juicier, Yamato and Lily joined her as well. Belle spoke kind words of everyone and made them all nostalgic and emotional. After all was said and done, everyone headed to bed when the door rang and Yamato went to check it out. Someone then showed her a picture of her former friend in a brothel, leaving her speechless. The brothel was run by a goddess named Ishtar, who controlled an entire district solely to entertain desires and promiscuous activities. Yamato stealthily sneaked out from the mansion and went to the pleasure fort, but she was followed by Welf, Lily, and Belle. As they went deeper, Belle was unable to handle the temptation and started blushing and grimacing as usual. Eventually, Lily and Welf caught up to Yamato, who explained to them the situation and why she needed to save her friend, who was once a royal in her hometown. Belle, on the other hand, got lost and was bombarded by beautiful women from every side. Luckily, he met Hermes, who gave him a potion to induce lust, and went on his way. While he was running after him, he ran into one of the concubines named Aisha, who started to manhandle him and take him to the palace to consummate. Belle is then surrounded by gorgeous prostitutes prepared to take his innocence. However, amidst their argument, he slowly snuck out and entered a room where he met Haruhime, Yamato's friend. Assuming he was one of her clients, she tried to seduce him, but ended up falling unconscious on the bed. When she awoke, Belle explained the situation to her, and they started to converse about their pasts and their passion for books and heroes. She told him how ashamed she felt stooping so low as to become a prostitute, and how selling her body for chump change made her feel worthless. Belle assured her things would be all right, and then escaped the district with the help of Haruhime. While all this was happening, Hermes delivered an item of great importance to Ishtar, which could possibly shift the balance of power among the gods. Ishtar is preparing to wage war against Freya. Thankfully, that whole ordeal with the concubines was behind him, and he returned home only to greet an angry and jealous Hestia waiting to scold him. Yamato tried defending his honor, but all to no avail. Hestia finalized her verdict and deemed him guilty. As punishment, he was to clean the streets till he learned his lesson. Albeit the punishment didn't fit the crime, his crew showed up to help ease his burden. As if Hestia's punishment wasn't enough, Aini started screaming at him for visiting the red light district unsupervised. She then explained to him how powerful they are and that their captains once defeated Lady Ace in combat. Belle went out of the guild feeling dejected and went to the library to read a couple of heroic tales when he started reminiscing about Haruhime and the awful condition she was in. Meanwhile, Aisha visited Haruhime to ask her how she was holding up and handed her a gift from her hometown. They were candies she cherished when she was a kid, native to the Far East region. Just then, Yamato started talking to her through the window, but Haruhime ignored her and acted like they never met. She then returned to Belle with a sad look on her face and told him of what happened. Hermes interrupted their conversation to deliver urgent news to Bel. He informed him how he delivered a rare item called the Killing Stone to Ishtar, and then proceeded to get up and leave, confusing the two even more. Back at the palace, Ishtar commanded her concubines to retrieve Bel at once, since she caught wind that Freya was interested in him and wanted to thwart her plans. Aisha managed to ambush Bel in the dungeons and overpower him, leading to his capture. Prior to capturing Bel, it is revealed that she used Haruhime to gain a power boost, and is the reason she was able to easily defeat Bel. Her strikes were more potent than usual, and her strength was greatly amplified. Even though they were both level 3 adventurers, it was evident to Bel that something wasn't right. When he awoke, he found himself locked up in a torture room, staring at a horrendous-looking toad woman, Phryne. While inside the castle, Aisha and the rest of the concubines were trying to search for Bel. Phryne starts tantalizing Bel as her appetite grew worse by the second. As soon as she stepped out to fetch her torture device, Haruhime snuck into the chamber and set Bel free. Meanwhile, Yamato used her ninja skills to infiltrate the castle undetected. She snuck into Ishtar's main office and learned of the atrocious secret behind the power of the Killing Stone. Bel was being escorted inside a secret tunnel when he confessed his plans to save her from slavery and prostitution. She started sobbing, but informed him it wouldn't be possible since Ishtar needs her to be a sacrifice of a ritual. One of the gods, Take, explained to Hestia how a killing stone is used to transfer power from one being to another, and that they were planning on using Haruhime's power boost to bring an end to the Freya Familia. As soon as Haruhime and Bel reached the surface, Aisha swept in and took hold of her, threatening Bel not to go anywhere near her. She told him how she was a precious sacrifice, and Bel objected but was sadly chased down by the other concubines and was forced to flee the scene. After a lengthy pursuit, Bel and Yamato managed to hide from the concubines, while Aisha took Haruhime back to the palace. After careful consideration, Bel was unable to leave her behind and convinced Yamato to go save her. They went back to the castle, where Bel blasted his way to the top. His fire was no match for the concubines. At the main gate, the Hestia Familia launched their own raid and barged through the front entrance. Amidst his search, Bel ran into the ugly-looking toad lady, who was powerful enough to swat his blasts as if they were flies. Suddenly, Bel found himself cornered and was about to succumb when Ishtar stepped in and commanded everyone to leave. She declared her intentions of domination and informed him of how she planned to destroy the Freya Familia once and for all. While Haruhime was being escorted to the ritual ceremony, Yamato intervened in hopes of saving her, but was unable to cope with the onslaught that awaited her. She tried her best to hold on for dear life, buying enough time for Bel to break the sword and end the accursed ritual, leaving everyone shocked and mortified. Fire erupted in the castle, blazing through the walls and burning everything in sight. Ishtar looked down in dismay as her empire was crumbling before her eyes. From a distance, she spots Freya leading the carnage. And yes, she is looking as stunning and ferocious, just like my ex. After destroying the sword and crashing the ritual, Bel protects Haruhime from their sinister machinations. Phryne wasn't going to sit back and let him take her, though. She launched an attack that sent him flying. Haruhime seized the opportunity and granted Bel a boost of power using her magical ability. With this newfound power, Bel rushes at Phryne with all his might and manages to keep up. Soon enough, the boost of adrenaline allows him to cut her face and slash her down. Just when he thought it was over, Aisha unsheathes her sword and demands a duel for Haruhime. Their duel is much cleaner and professional, almost like two master swordsmen engaging in a sparring session. Regardless, with Haruhime's ability, Bel was unstoppable and managed to defeat Aisha as well. On top of the tower, Freya seduced and bewitched Ishtar's subordinates, leaving her all alone and vulnerable. Ishtar tried going in for the attack, but Freya dodged and slapped her back to the heavens. Upon her death, a radiating beam was seen reaching the skies, signaling the death of a fallen angel. After the whole debacle was settled, Aisha switched sides and assisted Haruhime in joining the Hestia family. She threatens Bel to protect her at all costs and bids them farewell. Hermes then meets up with Bel and informs him of how proud he is of him. Everything seemed to be going great for everyone. Things went back to normal, Lily and Hestia started arguing like a broken record, and Bel, still clueless as ever I fear. He met up with Hephaestus while strolling idly and sat down to have a chat with her. She gave him pieces of advice on how he should lead his love life and why he needs to protect and care for those he holds dear. Who knew Hephaestus was the wise one? But trouble came knocking once again, and this time in the form of Ares, who kidnapped Hestia to make a statement. Unfortunately for him, Bel and Ais teamed up to bring him down, and he was obviously no match for Ais's superior techniques. However, amidst their scuffle, Hestia accidentally slipped and fell from the cliff. Bel jumped to rescue her, but they both ended up falling into the water. Luckily for them, they were saved by an old man who gave them some food and a clean room to sojourn in. Ais was also with them to help keep them secure. The village was quite lively and friendly, and Bel decided to return the favor by helping out however he could. After he was done, the old man summoned him to his room and gave him some fatherly advice on how he needs to treat Hestia and why he should cherish and kowtow her. Seems like Hephaestus foresaw everything. Later on in the night, a feast was held in their honor and everyone enjoyed it thoroughly. But guess who came knocking once again? Yap, trouble doesn't know when to quit. The old man became seriously ill and was bedridden. Everyone came to say goodbye, and then Bel, Aias and Hestia continued their journey back home. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to stay updated on future content. And hold tight for part 3 of this series.